VT Rocks. My guest today is Pam Lasser from ReSOURCE. What's ReSOURCE?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today,
Oh, you're
Pam.
welcome.
I really appreciate the opportunity. ReSOURCE is a Vermont nonprofit founded in Chittenden County over 30 years ago, but we're spreading around the state. We have a three-part mission of environmental stewardship. So we have a whole section of household building material stores where people donate their goods and they're resold.
One in Williston. I love it.
One in Williston, Burlington, Hyde Park, and Barry.
Yeah.
Barry
Yeah.
was just hit by the flood, so it's
Oh,
temporarily
big time.
closed,
Yeah.
but we are expected to be up and running really soon. We've
Yeah.
had tons of volunteers come down.
Uh-huh.
So that's our environmental stewardship, keeping things out of the landfill
Yeah.
and providing goods for Vermonters. Poverty relief, and we send out vouchers to area agencies so
Right.
people can come to our stores and get the beds and tables and kitchenwares that they need. But job training has been at the core of ReSOURCE's mission since its founding. We have dozens of different training programs to help all kinds of Vermonters, from high schoolers
Yeah.
on up to all different ages and different levels of abilities and barriers and different support.
Are you still based in Chittenden County?
Our headquarters,
Okay.
is in Williston, but we're starting to spread around the state to share our opportunities, and primarily with our intensive programs right now. Though we do have, with COVID, we pivoted really quickly, and while our training programs were down, we developed a whole online curriculum, which could be advantageous for people up in this North
I
Country.
haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I should
general
look.
office administration, foundational computer
Yeah.
skills, general work readiness programs, and they're all on our website, resourcevt.org.
For those who don't know your stores, I mean, my experience of them, it's a fabulous place to get all of the things that you might need for a renovation or to equip a house incredibly affordably. And things like a can of paint that will just match what you have or that doesn't for practically nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
I get so many of my things there. I have my two chairs in my living room.
Right.
We were putting in radiators in our basement, water
Yeah.
radiators, which are really hard to buy. I got them at ReSOURCE.
They've got so much.
Yes.
And
doors, windows.
right.
Yeah.
And the other wonderful thing is that's stuff that would normally go to the landfill.
Yes.
And that
Exactly.
it's going somewhere that can use it.
Appliances. We have
Yeah.
a whole appliance repair department. And so we are connected directly with like Lowe's and those, where we get their appliances that people might send in there. They get cleaned, fixed, and then they go back get sold in our stores. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our environmental stewardship
Yeah.
and poverty relief mission. As I was saying, job training is at the core of our mission. We have a whole host of programs. I've been working exclusively with our trade-oriented programs for the last 10 years, initially with our youth build programs, which we have in Burlington and Barry, that help youth get into, learn job skills. And then in the last 6 years, we developed our first intensive Construction 101, designed to help jumpstart Vermonters into the trades. And that is, we designed it as a 6-week program, 4-2 model, where it's 4 weeks hands-on in the classroom, Monday through Friday, followed by up to 2 weeks of work experience, where trainees are placed with hiring employers, where they kind of continue their learning with a hiring employer, where they each get to try each other out before they supply. And we've expanded our repertoire of these trade-oriented programs into now Weatherization 101, which I'm now bringing to Newport this fall, and HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, which was in Newport, I think, last year.
Yes.
And we're bringing around the state as
So
well.
what you offer is a basic training, a period of mentorship, and then a pathway to a job,
Exactly.
to employment.
And we take it soup to nuts, meaning the hands-on portion of the class is kind of basically full-time. It's 30 hours a week, and all of our intensives are structured the same way. So we're really helping people iron out the kinks about showing up. If they haven't been to a job in a while, like how to get up, get your kids used to the fact that you're getting out the door, and work out those kinks so when you're ready to go work full-time. So seeing how people can be reliable And it's also a benefit of a screen for employers.
Right.
We can try people out, and if they're showing themselves ready, they then earn the opportunity to go to a work experience opportunity. So they go in a work experience. I usually personally recommend one or two or more,
Right.
because there's so much opportunity out there.
Certainly right now.
Trainees can hopefully see different employers and see what might work for them and get to meet them. You know, people have started jobs and you don't even know what you're doing or who you're working with
Right.
until you show up. A work experience allows you to be at that job site. I usually say about 4 days for me is a good sweet spot. And they'll kind of know, oh, I'd like to be around there before they make that commitment. And the same thing for the employer. They get to do a try before they buy, before they bring somebody on. And then I continue on checking in with employers and trainees even after placement. To be there for that sounding board. I just had a conversation with a trainee from last fall who was just, things were kind of weird at work and she wasn't clear if her job was going forward, and we just talked it out and helped her figure out what her next move might be. And so, you know, we're there to keep people help support people for the long term in their job placement.
And clearly this isn't only for guys.
Correct.
Which
Absolutely.
is really
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Anybody and everybody. Men, women. For the intensives, age range starts at 18 and up because that's the laws for labor and construction. We've had everybody from 18-year-olds fresh out of high school up to people in their 50s. The main goal in these intensives, especially in Construction 101 and Weatherization 101, is physically fit, ready for a full-time job in the trades, which are physical.
Yes.
And they're full-time during the day. So that's the primary criteria that somebody's really ready for that kind of work.
Do you have educational requirements for those applying?
Not really, because our requirements are what the contractors need.
Yeah.
And in the trades, they need people who are going to show up. I ask every employer I meet, what are you looking for? And 100% of the time, the first thing is out, somebody who's going to be reliable and showing up.
Right.
What their education and whether they finished high school never even makes it onto the list.
That's really good.
They want to see the skills.
Yeah.
So people who've grown up in a farm, you know, their parents were in the trades, or they just liked it themselves and were tinkering, perfect candidates. Just about everybody that's gone through our program is they usually aren't required to have worked with tools before, but many of them have kind of an interest, but if they don't, that's okay. We start at the foundation with hand and power tools. Contractors want somebody who can run a power saw safely.
Yeah.
They don't have the time to do that. So that's part of the program.
One of the things that happened up here with COVID is, of course, everybody got kicked out of school. But we don't have the internet access up here, the broadband, to make Zoom online and other options even begin to be feasible. So a lot of our young people missed 2 years of school. And to go back is so demoralizing.
Yes.
They didn't go.
Yes.
And now it's how do you take that next step? How do you even begin to pick up and move forward?
Right.
So what you're offering, actually, to me, is sounding really good.
It can really get somebody getting working, moving again, and the main thing is to be showing up.
Yeah.
I really push communication now these days because I'm seeing a lot of disjoint between employers who are saying, you know, where is everybody? I don't communicate. And then applicants or trainees who say, I apply to employers and I never hear from them.
Right.
I think there's a huge disconnect in that regard. And so part of the program is helping people work through, you know, if they don't have an email, help them work on setting one up. If they haven't used it, getting some practice with that. Kind of learning the tools of communication these days.
Sometimes the resource of having access to a computer or a phone that can get emails, we don't always have that.
Exactly.
We don't have transportation up here.
Transportation's a big one, and it's big in the trades.
Yeah.
And so what we do in the program is, it's not a barrier to somebody being in the program. We talk a lot about it. Like, where are you at?
Right.
You know, is it your license suspended for some past infractions or tickets or whatnot? What do you need to do to get on that path to getting it? Employers, I've realized, I meet, usually realize that it's an issue. They need people to just show up at the job site, how they get to. So if somebody has a transportation barrier, we might look at companies where they can get to.
Yeah.
Or maybe if they can get to one place regularly. When you have to go to multiple different job
Right.
sites, you don't have transportation, that doesn't work.
No.
But if you can make arrangements to get to one place every day, and then you can start the process of gaining the resources to get that license back, or get connected with agencies that will support. You know, some of the agencies will have finances to help pay for that license or pay.
We don't up here.
Right.
We are very, very limited in what we can provide.
True, true. We partner a lot with Department of Labor,
Yeah.
with Hireability, a lot of different those agencies, and where we can help the support in those places.
Yeah, and without an infrastructure, it makes it harder. That doesn't mean I don't think it's
Yeah.
feasible.
Yeah.
I do. It's just knowing that and understanding
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yes, it's something that's taken into consideration in the
Good.
conversations about where you're at with your transportation, what are the options going forward, what are some steps you can be starting to work on,
Yeah.
and where can we get you started with the work so you
Right.
can be working toward those goals.
Where are you physically doing the training?
It'll be in Newport. I'm still finalizing with landlords. I'm hoping it's going to be right across the downtown Newport, right across the water there, so it'll be very accessible. The goal is to have it be in Newport where everybody can get to.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So how does somebody go about contacting you?
Yes.
Now that you've piqued my interest, if you're going to pique everybody
Yeah.
else's.
So to find out more information,
Yeah.
if people can get to the internet, our resourcevt.org and go into training and
Yeah.
looking for Weatherization 101. Just about all the information you need to know about Weatherization 101 is on the website. The dates and times and locations and what you need and so forth. There's also a link to our online application. It is online, but it's a Google form.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. It can be done on a phone, and it's a smooth process. My name and number is also on the website.
Yeah.
It's also on our flyer, Exhibit 1. And so if people are having questions or struggling, you can reach out to me. If you see our flyer around, the QR code will bring you directly to that website
Right.
and the link to the online application.
Your flyer is visible downtown too. I've seen it in many
Thank you.
places, and I know a
Spend
lot of
some
us
time
are
moving those
posting it
around.
and reposting it on Facebook.
Yes,
So
thank you. I appreciate that.
It is out there.
We're looking to spread the word
Yeah.
because I'm sure there's people out there that might be ready for a new career, always thought they wanted to try this.
Do you think people know what weatherization is?
That's an excellent question. It's just where I was thinking about going. So we call this Weatherization 101. Weatherization is a kind of a new, well, it's not a new field in the trades, but I think it's a new field that people are aware of. And it's the idea of weatherizing homes to withstand the weather. And in northern Vermont, that's the cold.
We got weather.
You got weather, you know. It's primarily making your homes resistant to the cold.
Yeah.
Now, I think down in Phoenix, they're probably doing a lot more weatherization for the other extreme.
Right.
That
But
might
it's
not
still
be-
weatherization.
It's still weatherization. It's putting insulation,
Yeah.
insulating homes, caulking around doors and windows, sealing up all those holes where that cold air can get in.
And it does.
Putting in insulation underneath buildings, putting
Yes.
blowing spray cellulose or spray foam
Yeah.
into attics.
Right.
So, again, being physically fit to move around is important. Getting into weatherization itself is getting involved in a lot of little spaces. So crawling around, it's hard, dirty work is what I hear, but also very rewarding work. And it's fairly easy to pick up. It's not a very complicated. As the people move up in the ladder, because there is a career ladder.
Right.
Learning more building science, and there's more training along the way. Our main partner in the weatherization piece up here is EuroNETO. That's the Weatherization Assistance Program funded by the state of Vermont
Right.
to do weatherization for free to qualifying Vermonters.
Right.
And so we work closely with all of those agencies throughout the state.
And all of us know people who are on the waiting list for that program.
Yes, yes. And so what I'm hearing from the technicians, weatherization technicians that we've gotten into their program, or I talk with them in there, is that it's hard, dirty work. You're crawling under trailers. There's spiders. It's hot up in attics. You're not out in the elements like a roofer is. right? So it's not, I mean, you're dealing with winter, but, and you're, you have to deal with that in the winter, but you're not like outside, like in that, well, you're kind of in and out of a building. But it can be hot in the summertime up there. But it's rewarding. You're really helping people make their home warmer. And I hear from technicians who, they're in a home one day, and they come back the next, and people are like, oh my God, it was so much warmer last night from what you did. And that there's a whole component of that, of being able to give back to your community. So the NETO technicians, that's really a strong component. People might also go work for private weatherization companies. There's a few up here I'm reaching out to. Spray foam, there's spray foamers, and that's a great industry if people just want to really focus on one piece. Very independent oriented. Or if they find it's not, they get in there and they realize, no, it's not right for me. They still learn the foundational construction tools, and they might go into a construction industry. Or a construction company that really wants to start building that as part of.
And you have other options within your organization for that, presumably.
As far as employers to connect with?
Yeah, both employers and other training opportunities. I know you're going to do weatherization up here, but you've already done HVAC.
Yeah. So somebody could piggyback on that if they want. Whether the timing, like we just had Construction 101 here in the spring.
In Newport?
It was in Newport.
Oh, I must have blinked and missed that.
Yes. That was exclusively a higher ability. We're on kind of different contracts as far as who we can recruit. So somebody could piggyback from that. We're putting together our 2024 calendar, and so I don't know when our next one will be up here. But that'll be up on our website hopefully later this fall when we'll be here again.
Are you likely to have another store up here?
It would be wonderful to have a store up here. I don't see that in the future. We did a lot of expansion in our stores. And right now we're doing a lot of expansion and training. When COVID hit and we were seeing like the support, there's a lot of workforce development money out there. We were like, we hit the ground running to be ready to bring people up. So there's been a lot of focus on expanding our training and redeveloping our buildings where they are. But if there was interest, ReSOURCE is a Yes We Can organization. And we're regularly in Montpelier advocating for our clients, for our trainees, for our mission, and workforce development, education. We'll have to go where the interests are.
It would be a wonderful resource up here. I mean, it's a distance to Hyde Park. It's a longer distance to Williston.
So it'd be an interesting conversation to have. And it's not an unheard of one.
And that would be an employment opportunity too.
Exactly. And in fact, our stores are a training ground. We have people that from high schools in that are learning customer service skills in our stores, learning about organizing things in our donation bays, learning how to greet customers and then process things, learning the computer skills that go along with that. So our stores are a training ground.
You have people there who are older and who have experience at fixing things and knowing what will work as you describe what it is what you think you're looking for, which might not be what you end up with because what you thought was not useful.
They can be really valuable members of the community and share a lot and might need to be in transition themselves. In that piece. So there's a lot of flexibility in this.
That would be wonderful up here.
Yes. Good idea.
Well, that's one for you to take back. But that's not what you're here for.
No, I'm not. They're a little busy with getting our berry store back up and running because that's been closed.
I cannot imagine how hard that must have been.
And that was a new one we brought in a couple of years ago. So, and our new building in Williston that we just purchased has been a big investment. So once those get all foundational, I think maybe next time to see where other communities would welcome us and like us to come and what partners would be there to work with.
So what do you think, other than actual awareness of what your programs can do, what do you think is the barrier to people applying? Let me rephrase that. How can we encourage people to apply?
If the ideal person is somebody who's looking for a new career, thinks that they might be good working in the trades, enjoy working with their hands, that's the person that would be successful in this direction.
Yeah.
Can work full time. Unfortunately, there is very little to no part-time work in the construction industry.
Right. Though
And
it's
that
seasonal.
is a barrier. Actually, that question comes up a lot.
Uh-huh.
But we really focus on year-round employment.
Okay.
And it's more and more that way. Weatherization, they're going year-round.
Sure.
And actually, they can do better work in the attics in the wintertime when it's not as
bet.
hot. So they kind of tailor what they do when. So like NITO, 12 months around. And more of the contractors are 12 months around as well. They identify the good weather, they'll be doing the outside stuff, and they'll get a
Right.
house tightened up, and so that they're moving inside in the wintertime. I think some of the roofing companies, solar's an industry that people coming out of here might do.
Yeah.
I'm about to reach out to some of those solar companies up here that might be opportunities. But we really focus on year-round employment. Yeah.
Are you ever likely to move into trades like electrician or pipe fitter or plumber?
Yeah, so students have gone into those trades who have an interest from our programs. Because we're providing that foundational skills that are a jump start into any of those trades. I had a trainee out of, I think it was Construction 101, who went into electrical. Had some experience from their home country,
Right.
and started it with an electrical company, and is in the electrical apprentice program now. Same thing, somebody who was interested in plumbing and started
Right.
mechanical work, and then started his own plumbing company after a year or two working
Wow.
under.
That's great.
Yes, so that's a nice opportunity. So it's a really jumping off point for any of the trades, because again, we're providing that comfort level with hand tools and primarily power tools, power saws that again,
That most of us are scared of.
they're scared of. Employers can't take the time to train, and
Right.
they need to have it safely. And job safety, learning those job safety skills, OSHA 10 certification is part of our training, which employers love. And then doing some small builds. We actually reach out and do some small builds. And my next project is going to be reaching out to the community, some of the nonprofits. Is there something we can build for you? And with this new flooding, I want to inquire into whether we can do some service work during this training.
That would be amazing.
That might assist somebody in that regard. I want to start the conversations with the right organizations that might figure out how we can do that.
That would be fabulous. So I imagine that cities would love to have you do things. For example, I know our rec department here has had the high school and the training programs there build small sheds for them.
Yes. Our program's really short and fast. 4 weeks is a blink in the classroom.
I bet.
But like, for instance, in Bennington, I said we want to do a service project because we're part of a Serve, Earn, and Learn grant from the state of Vermont. And we can talk finances in a minute, too. So in Bennington, I asked, what can we do a service project, the area agencies, and the community gardens there said, oh, we would love some benches for our garden.
Yeah.
So our students in that program designed and built several different benches for their community garden down in there, and we donated them to that.
It would be
to that
amazing.
project. So that was a nice project. So I'll be starting to reach out to agencies here, what we can build for them, and that's a hands-on project.
Right.
So again, back to the question of why might somebody want to apply?
Right.
If you want to get into this work and you've been figuring out how, this is the way. Because not only are you getting the technical skills, but the support to meet hiring employers. So during the middle of the course is the technical aspect, learning construction skills, learning some weatherization concepts, all hands-on with those pieces. We're blowing spray foam, we're blowing dense pack, doing caulking. And there's a job placement component where we're working on updating people's resume and making them a construction-oriented resume. Practicing upgrading their work readiness skills. Mock interviews, where you get to practice those skills, which are very uncomfortable and hard to do. And every time somebody comes out of
interviews are
those,
uncomfortable.
Exactly. And every time somebody comes out, every trainee coming out and says that was a really helpful experience. And that gears up to our employer panel. So the employer panels where I invite hiring employers, anybody out there, hiring employer, get in touch with me if you'd like to be part of this, to come in and share about their trade. So if somebody is in this program and doesn't know, well, what are these different things they do? After, they hear it from me, they hear it from our instructors, they get to hear it in person from the employers themselves. What is weatherization? What is these different contracting opportunities? And the employers can talk about what they're hiring for, what skills they're looking for. And then we break up into a little mini job fair where trainees can talk one-on-one with hiring employers and really demystify that process. And that starts the conversations for our work experiences and those conversations about who is interested in who and what would be a good fit.
And there is no fee for this training, right?
Correct. So the ReSOURCE does not ask any of our trainees to pay for tuition out of their own pocket.
Good.
We're a training organization, not a funding organization. So we go out for grants and donations and that. So we have some grants for this program, some grants from the state. We do ask students to help us in that we qualify for VSAC's advancement grant. And we ask students to apply for that grant. We walk them through the process.
You help.
I connect them with your awesome VSAC counselor up here, Marty Kinsley, and support them through that through that process. But the program is open to anybody. It's no income verification as far as to qualify.
Right.
We need paperwork for grant purposes. But any level is high or low as far as our goal is to help people advance their careers and to help provide a workforce for those in the construction industry that really needs it and for the weatherization programs that really need it. There's a lot of climate goals that people are
Is there
trying to
any
meet.
possibility of a stipend for those?
Yes, excellent question. So not only is your tuition free to you as a participant, we also realize it's hard to be involved in something full-time for 6 weeks and not get an income. So we do provide a very modest training stipend. You get to earn while you learn. It's $300 a week. It's taxed, so it's not a lot, but you are earning while you're learning.
Right, you can at least feed yourself.
Exactly, and the goal is to help people be able to financially afford to be in the program and then be heading toward those full-time job at the end.
Yeah.
Which would bring us to well, what do those full-time jobs pay? Right?
Indeed.
So the trades are paying in the high teens, if not 20.
As a start.
As a start out of this program. I'm getting to know the specifics up here in your North Country, but already I'm hearing 18 to 20 to start with some basic tool knowledge that people coming out of our program has. I know the weatherization agencies are starting people over 20. They have the privilege to provide really good benefits.
Right.
So benefits depends on the organization. If it's a really small contractor, they might not be able to, but hopefully they might be able to build in some flexibility for you. So it's up to high teens, pushing 20, and then people might be getting into the low 20s after that with some years of experience.
And then there are other directions that people can take, career directions.
Yes. Within weatherization itself, the state has very lofty climate goals.
Yeah.
They want to have a goal to weatherize 90,000 homes in the next 10 years. We need a workforce to do that.
Right.
And at all levels.
Uh-huh.
We're training some of the entry-level people, but they're going to be needing crew leads and then energy auditors. We had a rock star trainee in our St. Johnsbury weatherization that was a little over a year ago. A year or two out of high school, just coming out of COVID, wasn't sure where his career was going.
Sure.
Took our Weatherization 101 in St. Johnsbury, started right away with NITO in St. Johnsbury. With his skills, within 6 months, they needed an energy auditor, and he got promoted to energy auditor. Right. Now, that was a fast track. I don't know if I heard everybody go in that place, but there's a whole need in the state. I'm actually on the steering committee. The state is putting money into building a statewide weatherization training center. Yeah. There is a real career need in this field. So if you get started in it, anyway, that's still under development. They're open to, they're starting, the conversations are very initial and building.
Can we put in a bid for up here?
Sure.
We have so little up here.
Yes.
To have that as a center
would be awesome.
Amazing.
Yes. And so the point is that what people in the weatherization industry specifically have to continue on to more and more training all the time, and the businesses pay for that, and send you on that training. Once you're working for
Yeah.
them, it's all part of your
Sure.
part of your work. So there is a lot of career growth.
Yeah.
So people looking to get into the trades, into that field, that are starting out. I just had another young one started in Bennington. He's like a year out of high school, was working in a restaurant for a lot of years, and just started with Brock, which is the Nito equivalent in Bennington, and really finds it really interesting and really likes
Great.
the people, and there he's got an opportunity for a real career path.
We are at the end of our time. It goes really fast. This has been fascinating, and I would really hope that this takes off here.
Yeah. If I could say, our program in Newport is going to be running this fall. Our start date is September 18th. It's a Monday through Friday program, 9 to 3:30, 4 weeks in the classroom. And then we're placing you with hiring employers after that for work experience, so ready for full-time work by the end of October. And we're recruiting. The class is small. It's a maximum of 8 students. Applications are still being accepted. There's still spots online.
And the number will go out at the end of this video.
Submit an application. I get in touch. We set up an interview to learn more, and we can take it from there.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure.
And if we can push for the training program up here permanently and a resource store.
Excellent.
That would be great.
I'll take that information back.
Okay, well, thank you for coming.